Okay, we're going to talk about finishing up the arrangement on Here Comes the Sun. I'm capoed on the 4th fret today because as you know, you can capo this anywhere or play it without the capo. I'm just picking the 4th fret at random. The first thing I'm going to talk about is the bottom of page 1. This is the transition that takes you out of the interlude back into the main song. So I'm just going to touch on that before we tie it all together. So looking at the bottom of the page, we have an A chord, and you just do the best you can to try to play the inner 4. You don't have to, be super precise about it because it's going to sound fine either way. And then I'm lifting up my ring finger to play the next chord, which is open, 2, open, putting it back down, and then putting the pinky down, going into the next measure, lifting the pinky up, putting it back down, and then strumming 5, picking up that high E, putting the pinky back down, to the full chord, and then adding the 3rd finger onto the high E string. So we have open, 2, 2, 2, 3, and then 2 more of those. Okay, let me adjust this capo. It sounds a little dead. Okay, so listen to the song. Once again, the song is always your best reference, but play it at a maybe 3/4 speed or whatever so you can really get the sense of it. So listen to the interlude area, and this is what happens after they play the interlude for the 6th time. 1 time the interlude is just instrumental, and then 5 times they're singing sun, 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 here he comes, that part. Okay, so then it goes into this little transition that takes you back into the verse, and it's basically like this: 1, 2, 3, 4. And that would take you back into the verse. Okay, so I'm going to play that a couple of times. What I'm going to do is I'm going to play it, and I'm just going to go right back and repeat it 4 or 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Into a verse, Little Darling. If you find that that's a little cramped there on that 4th fret, once again, because it does feel a little cramped even to me, just move the capo down to the 2nd fret, or play it with no capo at all. It really doesn't matter. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to back up, and I'm going to play the interlude twice, and then go into this transition. Okay, so we have, this would be the sun, 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 here he comes. Here we go. Where it says 2 interlude, the 3rd line up from the bottom, it says 2 interlude. So I'm going to start playing on that measure A, where it has the A chord followed by the 3 notes. 1, 2. Okay, when I played the interlude, I didn't do the pick notes. All I did was strum the chords. I played the... Okay, this time I'll play it exactly as written, because you're probably, that's probably the way you're practicing it. So once again, starting at the third line up, the A chord where it says to interlude. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. 2 to the transition. Okay, so you can see that the transition comes after you play that D chord in the line that says interlude, the second line from the bottom, the second measure where the D chord is. After you've done that as many times as you're going to do it, and when you're playing this as an arrangement for yourself, you can do that interlude as many times as you want. If you only want to do it twice or 3 times, just do it twice or 3 times and then go into that transition. But the transition comes after you do that D chord. I'm going to do it again. Once starting in the same place, starting on the A chord 3 lines up where it says to interlude, I'm going to play the interlude twice, and then after I get to that D chord the second time, I'm going to go down into the transition. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 3, 4. Go into the transition. Take you back into a verse. Now here's some more points of information about the transition. I'm playing it like this. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, 3, 4. Okay? If you want, you can keep the strumming going in between those chords. I'll show you what I mean. You can do this. Those last 2 are short like that. If you listen, once again, listen to the recording and you'll see they do a clear before they go back into the verse. Now when I'm playing that transition, when I'm playing it in that style, I'm strumming the first chord, and then I'm just kind of in between, lightly playing the bottom strings, and I'm playing what's written on the tab a little harder when I get to it. So it'd be like this. 1, soft, soft. Get the sense of that? I'll do it one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So that's how they get out of the interlude, that odd interlude, because it is strange. They use this transition to get back into the feel of the regular song. So I'm going to do that one more time now, starting on the third line up, where the A chord is at the end of that third line from the bottom, where it says to interlude. I'm going to play the interlude twice. And remember, no matter how many times you play it, you will go into the transition after you play the D chord that's 2 lines up from the bottom, where that D chord is. So it really doesn't matter. You just know that after you play this, you're back to the D chord here. 2, 3, 4, transition. I hope that's clear. I took a lot of time on that because I want it to be perfectly clear. Because when we're done with this, when you have the ability to play it cleanly, even if it's at half speed, this arrangement will play exactly along with the Beatles. So you'll be able to play along with them, either doing the arrangement, but then, to be in the proper key, you'd have to be up where we first started learning it with the capo up on the 7th fret. Or if you're playing the rhythm like we talked about last week. Okay, so we have that transition. I'll play it one more time. Going to sheet 2. It goes back into a verse. Now this is the same verse that you played on sheet 1, but I decided to write it out new on sheet 2 because this also has the ending on it. Okay, so after you do that transition back to verse, go to sheet 2, and I'm going to play and explain, so I may sometimes kind of sort of stop what's on sheet 2 there. So we have a verse, the same verse you've been playing. 2, 3, 4. Then it's going to go into a chorus. Okay, there's a repeat sign there. You're going to repeat the chorus. You see the repeat sign? The other part of the repeat sign is just one line up at the beginning of the chorus. So you just play the chorus. You're going to go and play a chorus again. You've repeated that. Now just keep going and play the last 2 lines. Depends on that D chord form. So what happens at the very end is you have both of those melodic lines that you played in the song. You have this one, and then you have the other sort of melodic line that was in the interlude. So what he does is he strings both of them together. So once you start playing those notes in that second measure of the next to last line, those will just string right on through, no pause. I'll do it again. Okay? When you're playing that melodic line for the last time, when you get to that last 2 in the next to last line, use your middle finger to play that 2 because that'll set you up for the next chord. I'm going going to use my second finger because then that's right there for that F chord form. Okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to sheet 1 and I'm going to string everything we just talked about together. So I'm going to go 3 lines up from the bottom at that A chord that says to interlude, and then I'm going to play the interlude as many times as I want. I won't even tell you this time how many times I'm going to play it. You'll have to count them. But when I'm done playing that interlude, after I get to that D chord, as I said, the D chord on the second line up, after I get to that D chord, then I'm going to go into that transition. From that transition, I'm going to go to page 2 and just play page 2 exactly as it's laid out. We have a verse, we have a chorus that repeats, then we play the last 2 lines. Okay? So here I go. I'm going to start where I said on that A chord, play the interlude a few times, transition, go to sheet 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Repeating. Keep going. Okay? That takes you through the second half of the song, or I don't know, second, last third of the song, however much that amounts to. I'll remind you when you're playing that last time through that series of notes, as you're coming off the next to last line into the last line, switch to that middle finger so that it's there in position. Right there, so you're ready for the... Okay? I'm going to do that one more time as a play along, and then I'm going to make a video, a separate video, doing the entire arrangement. So you have that as a play along, and I'll play through it and maybe play through it one time with reminders of how to approach it, and then play through the entire thing again just as a play along. Okay, so I'm going to do what I just did a little slower as a play along. So I'm going to go back once again to the first sheet, 3 lines up on that A chord. What I'm going to do is I'll do the interlude twice. So after I get to that D chord the second time, I'm going to go into the transition. Okay? A little slower, and then I'll go on to the second page exactly as written. 1, 2, 3, 4. repeating the chorus. Keep going. Okay, so that gets you through the entire rest of the song. As usual, any questions, any needed extra video help, you know you ask and you will have it. I'll make a video later on this week before we get into something new, just for a play along video, as I said, and maybe just kind of clarifying what we've done here. But this kind of essentially puts a cap on this song. So if you have an idea for another song, please ask. Ask soon so I can look into it and develop something for it. If not, I will always come up with something. But I would really like it if you gave a little input now and then as to songs that you'd be interested in. Okie dokie. Have a good one.